don't pay back, then you don't get forgiven for it. You have to come back to the store to pay for it. Is it the issue? So let's say you're mocha.
Well, I don't know. I mean, who knows? Who knows what the Einshim are in Shamayim?
We're talking about how
Loive ve'ena mashalim. Is it Rosh? Yeah, go ahead.
So let's say you're saying Shema that you're mocha. So if the person wants to pay you back, is it considered your money or is it?
You have done a Maisa Tzedek. You are Maisa Tzedek. So you're Moichel that, so therefore the person hasn't done anything wrong, but he has done something. Still didn't give the money back.
It's not your money.
It's not your money, so you're Moichel it. That was the Maisa with the Chofetz Chaim, with the Ganav. He ran after the Ganav in his house. Brought him in his house and he said to the Ganav, I Moichel you. So it's not mine. So therefore he was Hefker. So therefore Pashtas is no Aveira. The Aveira was taken away. If the Nigzal says that.
What she means
so
is,
once you say and then the person wants to come and pay me back, can I take the money?
Yes, but Tovas Maton. You could take it back. You're not also to take it back.
He's paying you back because he owes you, not because he's giving you a present.
Correct, but nevertheless, you're allowed to take it as a Maton from him. You can take it back. If you're Moichel, you're Moichel it. Does that mean if he later come back 5 years later and says to you, I want to give you the money which I owe you? Of course you can take it. It's yours.
Okay.
It's your money.
But I thought it's not yours.
He's Moichel, but the Maisa can come back and tell you, you can still take it. Why can't you take it? That's what, as a Kenyan?
Let's say the person has
let's
say the person has only the intentions that they want to give it to you as they're paying you back.
Right.
Then it's a stealing, no?
Then, no, it's not stealing. It's what side? So each side has an intention to, he wants to give and he wants to take. Why is it stealing? It's not giving.
Because he doesn't owe you money technically anymore.
Correct. Technically not.
So he's paying you back for the money that he owes you, but since he doesn't owe you money.
Since he doesn't owe you money and he comes back and what does he give you afterwards? He gives you back something which is...
You don't know. He doesn't know. So are you obligated to tell him, I was no money?
No, you're not obligated to tell him that. If he wants to give you back, and give you back as a matoma. You can tell him. You can tell him, listen, I was moichel you the money. I was moichel than you the money. So therefore, there's no chiyuv to give back. There's no chiyuv for him to give you back if you're moichel the money. If the Malva says, I've moichel the money, then there's no chiyuv to give it back. If he does give it back, is allowed to take it. But only as a matona, not as a halvor.
So do you tell him or can you tell him?
You should tell him if you be moichel. If you be moichel, then you should tell him. I was moichel the money. But that doesn't forbid you from taking it.
What should you do if when it's like before Yom Kippur and somebody owes you money, so you want to be mochel them because you don't want them to revere, but you still want to get the money paid back. But if you're mochel, then can you go to them and say, oh, you owe me money? You can't because you're mochel.
Yeah, I don't know. The person should do that. If you're owed money by somebody and you're being very nice by forgiving them, you can turn around and say, whenever he gives me back, I'll accept it. And in the meantime, I'm mochel for any delay.
Right, because it happened this Yom Kippur to me, and it was someone owed me and my sister a lot of money, and I couldn't get a hold of it. I still haven't gotten a hold of their number. I couldn't get a hold of them to call them before Yom Kippur. But it was a lot of money. I didn't. No, then you turn around and you can say to the person, "Listen, I'd like my money back whenever you can. Whenever you can give it back to me, so I'd appreciate if you can give it back to me. As far as whenever you have it. I'm local the delay. Yes, the delay. Yes.
What about the Shmita? Didn't that make a
We spoke about that. Shmita is Shmita means it releases it, but now we have something called puzbul. What happens if the person doesn't use puzbul? If he doesn't use puzbul, then the loan has been dropped.
So the person is not obligated to pay it?
No, when Shmita releases it, Shmita releases the loan. However, if we spoke about this before, in other words, if a person gives money, Rosh Chodesh Elul, Tishri is Shmita. Rosh Chodesh Elul they give $1,000, and he says the loan should be paying back within 3 months. Within 3 months. So the Meiser Shmita will relax the loan, and if he's prepared to do that, what he should have said, maybe he wants the money back, is to say, Erev Rosh Hashanah, I'd like the money back. So the Shmita should relax the loan. So therefore, when it comes to Shmita, he can ask for his money back. Why? Because the loan should have been paid back beforehand. When it goes into Shmita, Shmita releases the loan. But if the money was owing already from before, it's not a Shmita loan.
So, if let's say like all these stories about like after 120, like they couldn't get into pennies or whatever. So that only means for 7 years of punishment to end it, because before that they don't owe anything anymore.
I don't know. I don't know what happens in Gan Eden. I don't know what happens in Shamayim. Certainly, if a person owns money, then he should try and pay his debts before he's nifted.
No, wouldn't.
How far it goes and what the ownership is for a person who doesn't pay back his debts.
If let's say I didn't pay back something, I'd already paid the tax, I'm still allowed to pay back?
Definitely, because Shemitah didn't relax it. The debt was paid beforehand. If the debt goes in, the Chayv goes into Shemitah, but it was payable beforehand, Erev Rosh Hashanah, so why should Shemitah relax it? It's what goes into Shemitah as a Chayv. It was money owing from before Shemitah. You follow? Rosh Chodesh El, the loan was made. Rosh Hashanah is Shemitah. So now it comes to the Aleph Tishri, a loan which goes through Shemitah. But if the loan was owing from beforehand, then without Puzbul, then the loan is relaxed. It goes into Rosh Hashanah. It goes into the year.
Okay.
So otherwise, therefore, the debt should have been paid back beforehand. But nowadays we have something called Shemitah, Puzbul. Puzbul means the debt is in Beis Din, not by the person. Okay, let's go on to page Top Tes Zayin. Vav at the top. How long should you give a loan for? Misbabur, does that totally? Apparently, it depends. Gamkein b'cholecha kafi hasakas yodai, according to what you can give. If you can only give a loan for, I have somebody where I live. Sometimes I have some spare dollars or something, so he says to me, can I borrow it for about a week or so? Why not? Yom or Yomayim. Ein mechuyev yoyser. You're not mechuyev to give more than that. If you only have money for a week, so you have it for a week. And the opposite. If he wants to borrow for more than 30 days, the yoda maseges lazeh, and he can give it for that time. He could yes give it. He should give it for that time, if you can afford it. If you can give it. If you can give the money over for a year, and you have $1,000 and he wants to borrow for a year, then you should give it for a year. If you could. If you can't, you can't. You're not mechuyev to stretch yourself and go and borrow money from somebody else so that you can lend to him. That you don't do.
If you could, you should? Or
if you could, you should. He said, you should. If you can, but only if you can. That's what he means. Im yodai maseges yodai. If the lender can lend it for that amount of time, then he should lend it for that amount of time. If he wants it for that. If you can't, you can't. You can't turn around to a lender and say, listen, I need to borrow $1,000, but I can only borrow it for a year. So the lender can turn around and say, I'm sorry, I can't give it you for a year. You're allowed to do that. I can, yes, give it you, but I only give it you for 6 months. Of course you can say that. You're not mechuyev to do his terms, what you can manage. If it's going to put you in straits and difficulties, so you only do what you can do. You can only do it for a week. That's what he's saying here. But if you can, you should lend it. A girl wants to borrow someone else's a suitcase. So she says, yes, I can lend it you for a week, and then I need it because I'm going away for a week. So why not lend it for a week? I can't lend you for more because after a week I need it myself. So why do I have to go and borrow from somebody else? You're not looking to borrow from somebody else when you can use your own bag. Same with money. Yeah.
What about in cases where like things come up where you had extra money, but then maybe you're lending somebody money, but then an unexpected expense comes up and you need the money?
We spoke about that. Like a shopkeeper, or maybe we haven't spoken, I don't know. But a shopkeeper, for example, who needs the ready cash to buy things regularly. So he needs cash on hand.
Saying, could you go back to the person and ask them for it?
Can you go back and ask them for it?
You don't necessarily know how long it is if you need the...
Not really. You shouldn't. If you gave it for a loan, for a time, you should give it for the time. Ask for it beforehand is not right.
So
it's not fair.
Beforehand, so maybe you could think that you don't necessarily know when you might need the person to pay back.
Then you leave it open. That's fine. I do that often with different things. I have no idea when I need the money.
So leaving it open means...
Can we make an arrangement? Then I'll ask you a day before, or 3 days beforehand. So we make an arrangement, we write a shtar out, and if I need it for within a certain time, I'll come and ask you 3 days before I need it. Ein shiur, Zayin. Ein shiur lemitzvahs given as chasodim. There's no amount. Afilu ad mea pa'omim. Now, meaning 100 times. 100 times. In other words, what's better? You have $1,000. Is it better to make 1,000 loans or one loan?
1,000 loans.
1,000 loans.
Do more mitzvahs of
More
chesed.
mitzvahs. Each one is a different one.
I feel like my bothers me. I understand that, okay, counting mitzvahs, you're getting 1,000 mitzvahs, but when helping the person, when you give 1,000 people $1, you're not helping them.
So give 1,000 people $1,000. I mean, that's different. That's the average.
What's $1,000?
No, what I mean is like if you have $1,000.
If you have, what should you do with your $1,000?
You need to give them a substantial amount that it's.
So Reuben comes along and asks you and says, I need a loan for $1,000. Right? Today. Tomorrow, Shimon comes along and Levi comes along and says, we need to borrow $500, but you gave it already to Reuven for $1,000, so it's gone already, the money. So what could you do? When you were asked, that's what you had. But at the time when you're asked if you had it, so you want to hold the money back when he's asking for $1,000.
Or if all three people come at the same time.
So you say, I only have 300 to give you each, 350 each to give you. That's what I've got to give you. If you want to loan, you want to loan. So you can turn around to all of them and say, listen, I would like to lend you, I haven't got $1,000, I've only got $1,000 in total. So therefore I can give each of you $300.
So it's better to give each of them less than to give one of them the amount that they really need?
Yeah, but it depends on priority. Who comes first? Because if one comes first for $1,000, so give him the $1,000.
You should. I thought
you should.
That you should wait because you want to for the next day to give the next one.
No, at the time when they come. At the time when someone comes, and you have $1,000, and the time that they come, only one person has come and he wants $1,000. Should you give him $1,000 when you have the $1,000? Yes.
What if you should give $1 to one, $1 to
one? No. If at the time when it happens.
But you only get one request at a time.
Right.
If you give all your money to somebody, then you can't give.
If he needs it, if the one person needs $1,000.
But everyone just needs stuff, right? Whoever is asking, right? So you should give them. They don't have a amount they need.
Most people have an amount.
So let's say someone comes to you. Let's say here's the scenario. Someone comes to you and says to you, "I need $1,000. I need it. I need to pay some expenses, and I can't take less. I need someone to lend me $1,000. Do you have it? So you have it, but you would like to give out to 1,000 people $1 or whatever combination. What's the best thing to do? You give to that person $1,000. That's what he means. If you could and you have it, then you should give to the one person. If at the same time as one person comes and another person comes and two people, so you then turn around and say, listen, there are 3 of you here now, so all I have is $1,000, you have to divide it. If the opportunity comes along, do you say lachatchila though to somebody who asked for 1,000? Do you say, when you ask, do you say no to him? You say yes to him, you give him the $1,000. If, however, you could do many different times, supposing you keep, every week he borrows $1,000. He borrows $1,000, you give it back, and comes back next week for $1,000. That's what he's saying here. He's saying here the $1,000, the $1, if 1,000 people come to you, or if it's going on like every single week, he's asking you for more. You with me? Two scenes. First scene is when 1,000 people come.
Right.
What's better? One person asks for $1,000, and 1,000 people come for $1. What should you do? 1,000 people for $1. Now, second scene, because there's more mitzvahs if you can, but the person's asking for $1,000, but I have other people on call as well.
Okay.
Second scene, supposing he borrows $1,000, gives it back, and next week he asks again. Can you turn around to him and say, listen, I gave you last week, I have to give you again this week? That's another scene of times.
You should give it to him.
Each time, if you can, you should give him. So there are 2 scenes of times here, either amount or regularity. V'lo yeira levovoi lachshoy, and you shouldn't think in your heart, Kama matriach alai ha'ish hazeh. What a nuisance this man is. What a nuisance. Tomid v'lekicha samoas u'bepeiroin. He's always coming to borrow money and he pays me back. This is driving me meshuggah. All the time, and every time he pays me back, but he's a nuisance, this guy. Kamo she'enoi koyes al mi shehu doifek tomid al kismei chanusoi litein loi revach beiskoi. Just like you don't get angry on someone who knocks at your door always to give you benefit in your business. You don't do that. You don't turn around and say, what, you're here again to buy milk? You came yesterday to buy milk. What are you bothering me all the time for milk? Yeah, but in the same way as you hoping that people come and give you business, he's giving you tzedakah business. So don't get aggravated like you won't get angry as a shopkeeper. What, yesterday you bought a suit, on another suit today? No one says that. Similarly with chesed, someone asks you and you can do it, so do it again. Don't get angry with him.
If at that time you feel aggravated, like
if you don't do it this time, it'll help you to do better at other times. So you don't do it every single time, but so that when you do it, you feel better about it.
I think you need to work on yourself more on that. What do you mean therefore? I really am I'm not up to working on myself today, so can you come back tomorrow when I'm in the mood? Is that what you mean? I can't give you now because I'm not really at the height of my giving. So my giving will be in a week's time. Come when I really want to give. So then you can ask me. Local kachto. You have to work on yourself. Is that what you're saying? You have to work on yourself. I think you have to work on yourself. It's very aggravating. You live in Yerushalayim, no? Enough people come and nudge you. The things in Yerushalayim. Go to the Koso. It's non-stop. Don't get angry. Don't get wild with them. That's not the way. And if you haven't got, also don't get angry with them. And always look them straight in the eye. Give a smile and say, I am so sorry. I'd love to give you, but I can't. I haven't got. Can't do more than that. Let's carry on. V'yeda, and you should know. Top line, page lamed. Ki kol pam hu mekayim mitzvahs aseh d'oraisa. Every single time, when someone comes and asks you, you are mekayim a mitzvah d'oraisa. V'yavai elav brocha me'es Hashem, and you receive a brocha. K'mo she'omar hakosav linyan tzedakah. Nosain titein loi. Why two nosains there? Hainu afilu me'er pam. Even if it's 100 times. K'mo she'perish Rashi, like Rashi says there. V'lo yeira bilvavucha, and the pasuk says, don't have a bad heart. B'sitcha loi. Why? Ki biglal hadavar hazeh yevorecha Hashem elokecha. For that you receive a bracha. Ladies, go to page Reish Kaf Dalet. Let's have a look at this pasuk. There's a beautiful point of the Chofetz Chaim later on. Page Reish Kaf Dalet. Let's have a look at this pasuk again. In other words, the Chofetz Chaim is saying the bracha comes out for you from the way that you give it. Just have a look at this footnote. It's a footnote here in the Chofetz Chaim. Page Reish Kaf Dalet. Bottom paragraph where it says Gam. This is Midas. This is Musa here. But let's have a look at Musa as well. Gam b'schus hatzdaka. Bo bracha l'toich beis shalom. Also in the schus of giving tzedakah, a person has bracha in his house. K'mo shenema, nosan titein loi, v'lo yeira bilvavucha. Don't have a bad heart. B'sitcha loi. Why? This is the pasuk in Devarim. Ki biglal hadavar hazeh yevorecha Hashem elokecha. Al kain, says the Chofetz Chaim, therefore, yischazei ka'odom, tomid v'zoi ha-mitzvah. Strengthen yourself, work on yourself. V'yavi bracha l'toich beisai. Milvad, socha, hatzofa lo l'retzach, apart from the schar that you get la'asil lavai. Take a look at the footnote here. V'nirali, masha omar hakos, the Chofetz Chaim writes in a footnote. You have it, ladies, at the bottom. B'sitcha lo. What does it mean, b'sitcha lo, when you give in? Hainu. Ki yadua shemiteva ha'odom. It's the nature of a person. Lo yirtze litein tzedakah la'oni rak b'pam echas. The nature of a person is, I'll give you once. Give you once. Oh, I'm giving you now. Aval im yuchach litein la'oni hazeh ba'atzmo oid pam acha pam. If the oni is coming to nudge you time after time after time, l'moshel ad me'er pa'omim. Me'er pa'omim, 100 times. Where I daven in shul, there's an oni who comes up to me every single morning.
For real? This is a true story you're saying?
Happened this morning, happened except for Shabbos Kodesh. Shabbos Kodesh he doesn't come. But every single morning he comes up at a certain time, right in the middle of a certain part of davening where I really don't have a head for him, and he comes over to me. Same thing. It's quite an avodah.
You have to give, it's the middle of your davening?
Well, I can give. Baruch Hashem, I have a shekel here and a shekel there. Yeah, but he comes out every single time. It's like that. And he looks at me in the face in the middle of davening. Do it for himself.
You have to give him, even though you don't.
If you don't have, you don't. I have in my pocket money which I have for during davening. I keep shkolim available. I always try and give a shekel. I don't like giving less than a shekel. You don't have to give that amount. I think a shekel is, half a shekel is also okay. But I like to give a shekel. I'm not a rich man, but I feel I can give a shekel. I mean, it just costs 7-8 shekel during davening or something. A bit more. Yeah.
What's the difference between a person same person coming to you every day and a person coming to you twice in
No difference really. No, that's what he's saying here.
If that person came to you more than once, like that same day.
Oh no, I suppose in davening, if he makes the trip round twice in davening, suppose he comes round to me a second time in the middle, 5 minutes later, am I allowed to turn around and say, and I think you can say that. Maybe. Because you don't usually do that. He comes out 5 times, he come round to me in the middle of davening 5 times and asks me. So I think I'm allowed to say to him, I gave you. This time round, I give him each time he comes.
Like once it's a day apart.
I've never ever met an Ani who comes over to you and asks you a second time 5 minutes later.
It happens when you go to the post office.
Same person? Same person?
Because they don't necessarily recognize you. They don't necessarily recognize you. So you go in and they ask you and then you're
if you recognize them, you have to say, I just gave you 5 minutes ago. You can say it with a smile. With a smile. Let's switch 1 second. Just 1 second. Now listen. Now even though you're going to give him, you give him because of the mitzvah. 4th line. Lo yisratza halev lozeh be'eis hanasina. But the heart isn't willing to give him. V'rak acha shekva hoitzia mitachas yodoi. Only after you gave him the money, when this guy has come back about 10 times, shahamois v'lav hochi benkach uvenkach kva einam biyodo. Oh, I say, you turn around and you say, Chofetz Chaim knows human psychology, no? You turn around and you say, after you give him, oh, I say, okay. So he took the money, benkach uvenkach. Then Bekal Yuchal Lisyashe Venafsha. Then you then turn around to yourself and you say, alright, Ma Yoel Ato Im Li. Alright, does it really hurt if I gave him afterwards? Ulahaktin HaMitzvah Mishum Zeh. And you diminish the mitzvah because of that. That's human psychology, says the Chofetz Chaim. So he came and said, I gave you the 7th time, I gave you the 3rd time, I gave you the 10th time. And every time you gave him. So then you turn around and say, this is so ridiculous. Alright, so I gave him. And afterwards, you make peace with yourself in the mitzvah. Afterwards, says the Chofetz Chaim. Lazeh v'hakosel. That's why the Pasuk says, Nosain titein lai. Hainu. Shemechuyev litein afilu mea pa'omim. And v'lo yeira levavecha b'sitcha lai. Don't have a heavy heart when you do give him. Hainu afilu be'eis hanasina. Now, look at these golden words. And this is the pasuk in the Torah. Ki biglal hadover hazeh. What does it mean in the Torah when it says the words biglal hadover hazeh? Look at the top. The Chofetz Chaim says the whole pasuk. Yeah. Second line, last line, where it says nosan titano in the big print. The sitcha loy ki biglal hadover hazeh yivorech Hashem elakecha. Chofetz Chaim says, what does it mean in the words biglal hadover hazeh? What does it mean biglal hadover hazeh? So now he's going to answer it. Ki biglal hadover hazeh perush ki haloy be'emes hamoes haim shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. No, Hashem gave you the money. And you're giving to him from Hashem's. Meaning, 10 loy mishaloi, it's Hashem's for you to give. And the person gets a bracha from HaKadosh Baruch Hu for this giving. Ladies, look. Where does the bracha come? Because of the money or because of the kindness? Yes, that's what he says. What's Biglal Hadavar Hazeh? What's Biglal Hadavar Hazeh going on? You with me? Which words is Biglal Hadavar Hazeh going on? You're not with me? No. Yes. What? Tell me, look at the pasuk at the top here. Nosan Titein Loi. Look at the pasuk at the top. You have it? You don't have it?
Yeah, I have it.
Nosan Titein Loi. Yeah, you don't have the right page. No, I'm the Reish Kaf Dalet, my dear. Here we are. Here. Yeah, but Reish Kaf Dalet. Now, look at the pasuk. Nosain titein loy. Pasuk in Devarim. V'lo yeira, give him. Nosain titein loy. Are you with me or not? Yeah? Tell me if you're not with what I'm doing here. Again, Nosain titein loy, you should give him. Next word in the pasuk. V'lo yeira bilvavucha. Next phrase. Ki biglal hadavar hazeh yivorech Hashem elakecha. Now, ladies, what are the words of biglal hadavar hazeh going on? On? No, you're wrong.
The kindness that you're doing to them.
No, read the pasuk, ladies. Where's the smichas in the pasuk? Again, nosan titein loy. I gave him. V'lo yeira bilvavucha. B'sitcha loy. Ki biglal hadavar hazeh. Right. The big. I'm sorry. Is that what you meant? I'm sorry. Take that back. Yes. Ki biglal adova hazeh is going on v'lo yera bilvovecha. V'lo yera bilvovecha. What is the reason for the bracha? Yivorech Hashem Elokecha. Biglal adova hazeh. What's biglal adova hazeh? V'ad yera bilvovecha. Where does the bracha come from? $1 million? No. V'lo yera bilvovecha is where the bracha. Not have a bad heart.
V'ad means fear.
No. Ra. Yera. That's with an aleph. This is with an ayin. V'lo yera bilvovecha. A bad heart. Now let's go back to the Chofetz Chaim here. Top line. Second line. The bracha comes from tzedakah on the kind heart. Then you had a choice. Not to do the mitzvah. If a person works on himself when he's doing the mitzvah, he decides, I'm not going to give a sour face. I'm going to do this with a happy heart. And he works on himself. To do it with kindness. Which is not the case in be'ez asiyas ha-mitzvah. At the time of doing the mitzvah, you have a bad heart. You do not get a bracha. Lo aleinu. You gave $1 million, but you gave it with a grumpy face. If a person only sits back and says, all right, so to say that I gave the money, and he settles with it. It's not that he doesn't get any mitzvah. You reduce the size of the mitzvah by the heavy heart. That's the deal. The Aliyeh Rabbil Vavucha is going on, Gebilal Adova Hazeh is going on Aliyeh Rabbil Vavucha, not on giving him, on the heavy heart. Yeah.
I heard that if you don't give, that if you don't have stuff and you just say a kind word, then it's like as if you give stuff.
100%.
Right. But my question is like, if you have stuff and you decide, like it happens a lot of times, and I'll have, let's say, a 50 shek on me, and that's it, and I don't want to split it to like make a whole big thing, and I'm running anyway because I'm on the way. So instead, I'll just be like Hatzlacha Rabba in the kesef, or just let's say don't say in the kesef, I'll just be like, oh, Hatzlacha Rabba with a big smile. Is that fulfilling it? If I could have given them stuff up?
You know the answer.
No, because I'm like, it's a shekel.
You know the answer. You told me the answer. It's not.
Why?
Because you can just tell me yourself. Because I just haven't got time.
What?
I haven't got time.
Right. So it's unless you don't have time. Is it still as if you get stuck up?
No good. It's not as good. So it takes a second. Needs the time. No, needs the time.
5 minutes.
What if there's nowhere to go and change money though, so that you have a smaller bill than 50?
And he's not going to give you change. It's a big You're not going to give him, and you're going to give him 1 shekel out of $50 or something. I don't know. You can ask him. You can tell him. I only have 50. You can tell him right looking in the face, I only have a 50 shekel note, and I can only give you a shekel. Is that okay? Straight down the line. Tell him straight. I can give you a shekel, and I only have 50. Can you change it or not? Come on. Tell him straight. No, I can. You don't have to give him more than a shekel. But I have a 50 shekel. Can you give me change or not? And let him decide. Okay, let's go back. Where are we? Page Lamed Aleph. Back to Lamed Aleph.
So let's say he tests you and says to you, okay, so give me the person. You could probably come up with a person like that. They'll probably say,
yes, of course. I want back 49 shekels. I'm giving you a shekel. Like I haven't got more to give you. And if you can't, then I can't give you.
Then you say I can't give you.
You don't have to give
I'm going to give you 50 shekels.
No.
That's what I'm saying.
Right, so ladies, let's go on. Yud. We're up to Yud. Yeah? Yud. I'm sorry, no, did we do Yud or not? Or maybe I've jumped in. Yeah, we were up to Ches, no? Ches, I'm sorry, Ches. Ches. Hachiyuv shechiyuv hatoivo. Ladies, page Lamed, Ches. Hachiyuv shechiyuv hatoivo lahavas ish l'reyehu. The duty that a person has to lend a friend who bein ala mashkoin bein beli mashkoin. The Gemara in Bava Metzia talks all about the difference between lending with a pledge or without a pledge. With a pledge or without a pledge. Imhu batuach be'enov. If you know for sure that the person will give you back the money, then you don't have to take a pledge. You don't have to take a pledge if you don't want to. In our terms, it means avevim, guarantors. People sign on the loan. Nowadays, almost nobody does that. Everybody gives a loan, and you take what's called avevim. Two people sign and say that if the money isn't paid, we will pay the money instead. When you're allowed to do that, then everybody does that.
Now, sometimes the guarantor is not the guarantor.
The guarantee has to pay.
No, like sometimes now, they make sometimes even that the guarantor has someone guaranteeing them.
Oh, I see. Could be. Ach, ima malvehu b'limei mashkoi. Now, look at this. Look what the Chofetz Chaim said. Even if you lend the money without a pledge, al kol ponim yalvehu lifnei edim. You should definitely write with edim. Give it with edim. Oy sheyiten lo shtachayv al kol ponim kesivas yodai. You must take something in writing. You must take something in writing, or in front of two edim. Don't just give it without something.
It's a little bit amount of money then.
Like what? Like
someone asks to borrow 20 shekel from you, you have to have 2 weeks and then he has to write down after I down.
I think it's right. Just write it on a piece of paper. Take a piece of paper and say, "I owe you 20 shekel," and sign it and date it.
Oh, sign it and date it, like this whole thing.
Yeah.
But even if it's going to pay you back,
I write it down.
No, people forget.
I write it down when I owe someone also, but
Did you write down someone else?
No, I don't.
sometimes.
If the money doesn't mean anything to you, then don't. But for 20 shekel and you want to get it back, so I don't see why you
I
might
write it down, but I don't tell them.
Yeah,
I think you should. For 20 shekel and you want it back, do you
I
mind?
write down everything. I write down if I owe someone 2 shekel or someone owes me 2 shekel.
I think it should be.
Write it down, but to sign it, I think it's uncomfortable. I don't know.
Why? I think it's only
people,
safe.
It makes people feel like they're not trusted.
Right, that too.
I don't know about obligated, but it makes it, I don't.
So you could see it's not a trust issue. This is my policy. This is what
You know what? You
I
should
get
turn
why
around and
you don't
say.
trust me to pay you.
Turn around and say. The Chofetz Chaim says it's always good to write it down. We both forget. Both of us can forget.
One time I was doing a little business deal and I was paying the person in cash and it was like a lot of cash so I said, "Do you want to count the money to make sure?" And they're like, "No, it's okay, trust you." And I'm like, "Okay, that's weird." And I didn't. And I was like, "Fine, whatever." They took it, and I was and I had 5 singles in one pocket, and they had like 250 in the other. And I accidentally gave them the 5 singles, and they're like, "No, it's okay, I trust you." And then I took the thing, whatever I was maxing big, and they came. It was non-Jew, and he came after. It was like me and my friends, and he came after us. And she's just like, "You cheaters! You look at you."
Let's go. Let's call it out. Okay, let's keep to the point. Let's keep to the point.
You're supposed to count the money. Like
You should always write a shtar. Let's keep to it. Ladies, come on. I want to do as much as I can on this. So the Chofetz Chaim says, it should be done in front of Eidim always. I don't agree, however small it is. You should write a little shtar. Write it out. The af shehu batuach be'enov. Here we are. Shema yishkach v'yava lichba b'aloi. Lest he forgets and he'll say, "I don't owe you." And it can happen. He's only human. Everything should be written down and signed. Whatever that doesn't make. Unless you really don't want the money back. If it's 5 shekel, you say, "It doesn't matter, forget it." Then forget it, it's a gift of 5 shekel. But if it's 20 shekel and you expect and you like to get it back, I think there's a little bit more than that as well. Supposing the person does forget, then you can have what's called like a taina in your heart. Come on, you're so careless, I have to come and remind you, and it makes it very awkward. It's not nice, and it's a great, almost sinas chinam. You remember it, I gave you 20 shekel, and you just forget it, you didn't come and pay me back, and that can create awful sinas chinam. It's much better to have it written down, and however close you are with the person, write it down and say, "No, sign." Chofetz Chaim says it's kedai because you can forget. So you're human.
And the person should sign it, and
Yes.
both of you sign.
No, the person who borrowed the money says, "I borrowed from you 20 shekel, Chana Cohen, dated, come on." Why not? And then you turn back and say, "How long?" You say, "When would you like to give me back?" I don't think it's awkward. I think it's only.
Does she have to sign it?
Yes, she should sign it. And you hold it the shtar. Unless you don't want the money back. Chofetz Chaim says you'll forget it. Now I'm just thinking what you were saying before. This is where a person can end up being thrown. I don't know what happens in Gan Eden, but when a person has borrowed lots of little amounts like this, and never paid them back, it's only a chesed to make a shtar on 20 shekel. because there's all these little amounts adding up, 20 shekel here, 20 shekel here. You forget. How many people are there in life, and you can just always forget? And you owe a lot of money to people, and you're doing a tova by writing a shtar. You, the lender, are doing a tova to the borrower, and give it a shtar and say, how long do you want it for? And it's
but there's nothing. If you just say like, oh, can I borrow 20 shekel? Yeah, I borrow 20 shekel, and then when I go look at the mirror and I write it down, whatever, I don't do the whole time. There's nothing. I'm not doing anything wrong, right?
I think there is something wrong. I think it's better for. Yes, I think it's better. Chofetz Chaim says you'll forget and not pay back the loan. No, let him, the person who borrows, sign for your piece of paper. I think it is wrong. Unless you're giving it as a gift.
It's not a gift.
Then write it down.
I don't want to go to someone that can be signed that it's really...
So then you're mochel the money in that case.
Alright, then mochel the money. Then fine.
Then you're mochel the fees back or not fees back.
Fine, then there's
you can't
no...
go ask him for the money?
No.
Or mochel, you can't go ask for the money, or not?
Oh, no, you can't. You can't mochel the money and then ask for the money
It's so
back.
weird to make them sign.
No problem. You get used to it. I think it's a wonderful thing to do, and you're doing them a favor. You're doing them a favor because they can forget
You
it.
sound like, you feel like you're like this, like, little, like, stingy, like...
No, it's not stingy.
It also
I'll be how long.
sounds like
Yes.
to me like
They don't give you back, say, after Yom Kippur. Is it has that money in November, or is that every Yom Kippur?
I don't know what you mean. If they don't pay...
Someone borrowed money from you and forgot to give you back. And
Yes.
they say usually after Yom Kippur, all debts are canceled, right?
No, they don't say that. When did they say that?
Only after Shemitah.
You only take my Shemitah. Otherwise, the debt carries on for years and years.
Wait, that's a Shemitah year?
Carries on, even in Shemitah, unless if you go through Pusbul. If you go through Pusbul and the debt, most people write out a Pusbul before Shemitah, which means the debt goes on for 50, 60 years, however long it wants to go on. Eternity. The debt is always a debt. Let's go on to Tess. Im hu makir b'haloive. If you know the borrower, shehu bal midoro, he's not a good person. Right? He's a careless person. Maybe I went too far.
Then that's
Careless. I don't know. The Chofetz Chaim says he's a bad person. I just said careless. I'm not sure if I went too far. But he doesn't pay back. I think it's not a good midah that. It's a raw. It's a midah raw. Not paying back is careless. He's not careful to pay back to somebody. And the person loses his money by that person. And there's nothing to get the money back from. In other words, he borrows and he doesn't pay back, and it's left like that. Now, let's be honest. Let's be a bit more human. Supposing you borrowed money for a week and you can't pay back after a week, you can turn around to the malva to say, "Listen, I know I borrowed the money from you. Is it okay if I extend it a bit more? Do you mind?" That you can certainly do, but it should be said. Something should be said. Listen, I borrowed money from you. And my time is over. He hasn't come because he's a nice guy, but you, the borrower, should go to him and say, "Can I extend it? If I can't extend it, you have to find the money." And you have to do that. Otherwise, it's a midah just to pay it and just to assume it's not a debt. Hainu. Now, what do you do? Mutav shelo yalvehu. It's better not to lend him. It means without a mashkan, because obviously, if you have a mashkan or you have a revim, you're safe. If you have a pledge...
What's he going to do? If he doesn't pay you back, it's not like you can bring him to basement.
No, but you have a revim.
He's not going to pay you back, he's not going to pay you back.
Wait 1 minute, lady. Hang on a second. If you borrow money and there are arevim, I have been asked to pay back on an arev.
What if the person is just a bad person, not going to help?
No way. One second. I am the lender, and I'm lending out $500, and I did not take arevim. And the time comes and he's not, I can go to basement with my shtar for my $500. Now, definitely you go to basement. Now, if it's with arevim, no problem. I go to arevim and say, "Now listen, you signed on the loan. Can you please pay up the $500?
And the person doesn't have the money.
So then it's not a gift, it's a loan. And therefore you have to find a way to pay it back. It is not. You go to Beit-Din. You can go to Beit-Din with a loan.
But then isn't the Orei the one who's loaning now?
Yes. In this case, when there is an Orei. The Chofetz Chaim is saying here that if a person will not pay back, you don't have to give him a loan without arevim, without a pledge. You only lend with a pledge, with arevim or with a pledge. That's what he's saying here, because you know you're unsure about the money.
Yeah, but it's pledged. Like, they would give you something else.
Like a gold watch or a becher, or they'll give you something which you can claim your collateral. You should definitely take with a pledge or with guarantors, and then you'll have what to claim back from. You don't have to come and press the loiva, because you shouldn't press the loiva. You should mention it to him, but you're going to have problems here. So time goes by and he doesn't pay back. You claim, take the mashkan, or ask the Arabim to pay up. Kain isa b'choshen mishpat. That's what it says in Choshen Mishpat. V'ayin shamoid. The haloive ha'oisa kain nikra rosha. Such a loive who doesn't pay back when he should is called layalenu a rosha. Choshen Mishpat is quite strict. You have to pay back. If you took a loan, you can go back to him and say, "I'm sorry, I haven't got the money," or you can take a Arabim, but you never give a loan to somebody. I mean, in Koilel, you should know. When you get married, I don't know if you know, it's not better. People borrow money. That's the way it works. You borrow for this, you borrow for that. It's a gemachim. Money to tie you over here, and money to this. That's the life of a Koilel in Koilel. Most people in Koilel don't have money available like that. So you always borrow with Arabim. Always.
With what?
With guarantors. All gemachim go with Arabim, with guarantors. Someone is backing up the loan. Meaning that if the lover doesn't pay, the bar doesn't pay, so you'll get the money back through them.
You shouldn't press the borrower.
You can come and ask him and say to him, but it's not pressing him like when you know he hasn't got it. But that's the wisdom of taking a baby.
Why would someone give them a mitzvah for one of the guarantors?
No.
So why
it's a chesed, it's not a mitzvah.
It's like, if they're putting themselves in a place where
it's a chesed.
They could, so forget who they get a mitzvah. They're putting themselves in a place where they could maybe be giving, but they're like second-hand giving. Okay, so
yeah,
you really don't. I don't want that. I'll pay for you.
It's a kind thing to do. It's a kind thing to do.
But why don't they just give it to them in the first place?
Because people, it's much.
I haven't got. I trust you. That's what they mean. They mean when they sign.
Have the money? Can a person be guaranteed if they have the money?
One second. We're talking about. Let's talk about honest people, straight people. What happens all the time in Kohen. You borrow money and you ask Reuven and Shimon, would you sign for a Arabim? And they both say, yeah, sure, of course. Now, Reuven and Shimon do not mean to pay out on the debt. They know that the borrower is a good guy, is a straight person, and he'll find the money himself. But just for collateral to secure the loiva, the malva won't give without that. But most Arabim do not expect to pay out. It's a kindness. It's a kindness.
Even if they have to pay, it doesn't mean that they can never get the money back. Because that, let's say it's a gemach. Gemachs have to run they give money for a certain amount of time. There's a lot of people who need money from a gemach. They have to keep going around. So what they do is they do it with the guarantors, and then when let's say a person can't pay back, because it's an honest person, but they really thought they built it back and they just don't have the money yet. So the guarantor, he pays, but it doesn't mean he necessarily loses money. Now it's between them. Now they have a separate. Yeah,
but it doesn't, my dear. It doesn't usually come to that. It doesn't come to that because hopefully, I don't know how many gemachim I have signed in Koilel. I don't know how many you signed for people because you help them out because they know you won't get the money without it. You just hope as a kindness that they won't make you pay. But sometimes you do have to pay.
But it doesn't. But I'm saying, if it's an honest person, let's say, who thinks he's about back and he realizes he doesn't have enough, so if the guarantor has to pay, so then they'll pay back. They'll pay back the guarantor.
Yes.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not like they're going to.
It's a system which is based on a lot of trust.
Right.
A lot of trust that the loaner that the borrower will pay and the guarantors will pay. But bottom line is that the guarantors have to pay if he doesn't pay back the lender. Yud. Im bo Shimon eitzel Ruvain. So Shimon comes to Ruvain. V'omar lo, halveini mana. Lend me some money. Avol teida. You should know. Shelo ucha lifroa lecha bevas achas. Ki im ma'at. I borrowed $1,000, but you should know I could only pay back $100 a month. Eina mechuyev lahalvos lo ba'ofen zeh mitzad hadin. Now, the Malveh says I need $1,000 at the end of the month. I need it $1,000. He turns around and says, I can only give you $100 a month. I want to stretch it out over a year. He only wants to give for a month. He wants it for a year. You're not mechuyev mitzad hadin. Aval mitzad geder ha'avo v'ha'achvo nochen lehetiv gam ba'ofen zeh. It's good to do such a thing. Mitzad hadin, you're not mechuyev to do such a thing.
You're not going to get it?
The borrower says, give me a year and $100 a month. The lender says, I want 1,000 back after a month. Now mitzad hadin, the lender does not have to give, because he's not mechuyev, he wants the money back later. But says the Chofetz Chaim, it's avo and achvo to let him have the year if he wants it. Are you mechuyev to do that? No. If you need the money after the month, and you say, I can give you $1,000, and listen, I need the money after $1,000, then if I die, you don't have to give it to him. It's only if you don't need it, can you do avo and achvo. We come back to the original point. In other words, if it's your money of $1,000, and you have it open for a month, and after a month, you're going to need it. So then, it's only a month and Gamanu. But if you can give it for a year, but you want to get the money back in a month, and he wants a year, then give him a year. If you can. Not if you can't. Not mechuyev to go and borrow money because you gave him. Okay? Yud Aleph. What time does the class finish? 1:45?
Borrower didn't pay back the lender, and then the guarantee has to pay back the lender. Does the borrower have to pay the guarantor?
Yes. No, it doesn't have to.
No, because let's say the borrower didn't pay, so they
and the guarantor
paid for him. So
yes.
You have to, and you because you didn't pay, you have to pay back to the guarantor.
I would say no, he doesn't have to, unless it's written down. Yes.
Because he didn't pay.
No, there's no chiyuv of the borrower to pay the guarantor. He just took over the loan. He was a nice guy. Unless they have a contract between them that the guarantor says to the borrower, listen, I'll guarantee your loan only if you write for me that I have to pay, you'll pay me back.
Oh, they'd have to write that.
Then they have to write that. Otherwise, it's just the loan of the borrower. It's gone.
He paid it.
Yeah. Yud Aleph. Im hivtiach li Yisrael havoisa sachmo. If you turned round and said to somebody, I will lend you $1,000. Yizoher, you should be careful, milachsa boy, from changing your mind. If you said you would lend, you shouldn't change your mind. Duhu kechol kabbalah v'da mitzvah. Because it's like any kabbalah to do a mitzvah. The kaimonon v'yoredea. We say in the Gemara Yoredea, Reishut Gimel, the oso lachsa boy. You shouldn't go back on what you said. You said that you would give the money, you should give the money. You shouldn't go back on it. For a wealthy person and for a long time, for a wealthy man and for a long time, it's not called a neder. In other words, Reuven has a lot of money. Shimon asks him for money, and Reuven said, I'll give you $1,000 for a month. He comes and asks for the money, and he says, I'm sorry, I can't give it to you. Now, is it a neder on Shimon's head? He said he'll give it. Is it a neder on his head? No, it's not a neder on his head. Ein al zeh mitzvahs asay, ein shaykh v'zeh shem neder. Mikol mokoim. Im hu yodea shesomach daitoi olav. If the lender knows that he intended to rely on that, he relies on it. You should be careful. You lose trust. If you give your word, you must keep to your word. If you said you're lending him the money, you should follow through. You shouldn't turn around and say, I changed my mind. Supposing you put aside $1,000, or you said, I've just earned $1,000. I intend to take out from this $100,000 $100 and give it for tzedakah. I intend to buy sforim for a shul. I intend to take $100 out and I want to give with that money to Bikur Chaynim. I intend to give it to my neighbor. Once you've said something and you agreed to do something with your money, you should keep it. You shouldn't go back on what you said. Why?
It's a Kabbalah. Yourself.
Yes, but
like
it's a
you
Kabbalah.
Didn't tell anybody, but you just thought like.
So always say B'li Neder. Always say B'li Neder, if I can. Always say Mitzvah Hashem B'li Neder. B'li Neder. So then you can change your mind. But you should say B'li Neder, because that takes the whole thing out of being a Kabbalah.
Why should a rich person, if anything, like someone who doesn't have money, you should. I don't understand why it should be the rich person.
No, it doesn't mean that. It means the person who's capable. who can give. It only means you can.
So the person who can give says he's going to give, and now says he can't give. It's not unfair for him.
No, it's not an aveira.
And why for someone who really doesn't have money?
Well, obviously it makes sense, because if a person who really has and he changes his mind, it's not like someone who hasn't. You can't blame the oni because he said, I happen to have $1,000, but only for 3 days, and I suddenly, I needed the money. I forgot, I'm sorry. I needed the money. It's not.
So for him, it's not considered a din if he doesn't really have the money.
It's wrong for the rich man who can.
Oh, it is. It's wrong for
the rich man. Yeah.
If someone's doing a chesed, like, of their time, right, they're going to go and help somebody out.
Right.
But let's say it costs money to get there, whatever it is, transportation. Can you use tzedakah money, like Meiser money, money you put aside for tzedakah to pay for your transportation?
You shouldn't, because Meiser money is not your money, like we said last time. Meiser money belongs to Aniyim. So
if you're going to help them, you're not giving them money, but you're giving them time, you're watching their children, you're whatever you're doing, you're just not giving them money.
Not from Meiser, take it from stock. Two different things.
So if
you give your Meiser money to an organization, that's going to be doing that.
Yes, if you earn $1,000 and you're going to give $100, so that $100 is not your money; it belongs to Aniyim. You can take out from tzedakah money. That's two different things.
Tzedakah money if you take a taxi to
tzedakah money, yes. Do a chesed. You're going to do a chesed. You're taking from tzedakah. It's also tzedakah.
What's tzedakah money? Like, I mean, I have set aside Meiser money. Sometimes I just take money and give it to tzedakah, but that's my money that I'm giving to tzedakah.
That's tzedakah money.
But it's not anywhere. It's just with the rest of my money.
Right, but that's money which is just available to give out for tzedakah. You could use that for using it for going to do a tzedakah.
But I don't have a set, envelope for tzedakah money.
Right. So therefore, if you don't have a set amount, then take from your own money then, if you don't. To make a cheshbon, you could make a cheshbon ahead and say, listen, this cost me 50 shekels to go to this family to do a chesed, and when I have 50 shekel at tzedakah money, I'll use that money and give myself back the money. That you can do, because it's tzedakah money. But not with Meiser money.
But my question is, what is tzedakah money?
Tzedakah money is not Meiser money. Any other money, additional money.
It's
Matzah is tzedakah money, really.
But it's not.
That's money belonging to Aniyim also.
Right. But kaparos.
Kaparos is tzedakah money.
Is that for Aniyim or that's?
No, that's usually for tzedakah. But don't you have other money? Usually with me it works like I have Meiser money. But then sometimes, someone comes up to me and says to me, like, money for something else. I don't make the cheshbon always from Meiser. I have tzedakah money, I have Meiser money. So tzedakah money you could use for that to make a cheshbon later.
So then if you're going somewhere and you don't have tzedakah money on you, you have just your own money on you, and someone asks you for tzedakah, so then...
You could turn around and say to yourself, write it down and say...
yourself?
Yes, you could say that I'm going to take out from this money now and use it now, but when I later have tzedakah money, I'll keep it, because I used it for this cause.
So where do you get tzedakah money from? Just your regular money? You just take out from yourself?
Yes, take out from yourself. Not necessarily Meiser. Yes, often happens. I mean, if you have other money. Some people only give for tzedakah what they have from Meiser. Only from... Say, okay.
What if you decide to give a chumash instead of a Meiser, and then...
Tzedakah money on top of that. There's not much left after that.
Depends how rich.
Yes.
What I mean is, if somebody wants to give more than Meiser, and they say, I'm going to give more than Meiser, then is the more than Meiser also considered like Meiser money, or is that just the other tzedakah?
No, that's tzedakah money. The alibas base Yosem Yechaimish is a chazal not to give more than a fifth. Fifth is more than you, because you might
so you can.
But if you have, then you can, yeah.
Or
if you have,
I don't know how much.
If you have, but that would be tzedakah money.
Sometimes I don't know how much I'm supposed to give in Meiser, so I just round it up. So
right.
The extra is really tzedakah money.
Exactly.
It's my Meiser.
Exactly. But it's tzedakah money because it's over and above. Can we go further, or?
Yeah.
Let's go further. V'da Yud Beis. The mitzvahs asay zu the halvon. The mitzvah of lending. Einay ela in kain yesh biyadai ma'az mezumanim. It only applies if you have the money available. Obviously. Avolim ein biyadai ma'az. If you don't have money for lending out, eina mechuyev leilech v'lilvos. You are not duty bound to go and borrow money kedei lahalvos, to lend to somebody else. Interesting. The word eina mechuyev. You're not mechuyev. But supposing someone comes over to you and says to you, listen, I need to borrow $1,000. You have connections, but he doesn't. You could find $1,000, and she couldn't. So, is it right for you to go and borrow the money for them? It's a big chesed. You're not mechuyev to do that. You're not mechuyev to do that. It's a nice thing to do, but you're not mechuyev to go and borrow the money when you don't have yourself. But you feel that you have connections, so it's easy to you to borrow the money and you'll give it to them. You're not mechuyev to do that. It's a nice thing to do, it's a chesed, but not as chiyuv. Yeah.
I'm a little bit confused because we're talking about all the halachas of chesed, that chesed is actually a mitzvah, we actually have to do it. But then, the things we don't have to do with chesed are chesed, so what does that mean?
How far do you have to go? That's the question. How far are you mechuyev to stretch yourself? For example, in the mitzvah of lending money, when you don't have, are you mechuyev to go and borrow to lend? No.
I understand that, but if we're just, this whole thing is chesed anyways, lending is also a chesed, but this chesed is a mitzvah.
There's limits. The chesed im, no, it's a mitzvah. Im chesed tal v'esami. It's a mitzvah. Im is when you should, yes, lend. But what are the conditions of the mitzvah? That's what he's saying. The conditions of the mitzvah are if you have, not if you don't have. So don't turn around and say, since it's a mitzvah in the Torah to lend money, if I should go and borrow to lend. No, that's not the mitzvah.
But doing that is still a chesed.
Yes, but it's not mechuyev. That's like lifnim mishor sadin. Lifnim mishor sadin.
So why are you doing it?
You're doing it a big chesed and you're helping out the person. But turn around in Shulchan Aruch. No, Shulchan Aruch never asks you to do that.
So then, isn't that you're doing it because like it's moral and it's nice and whatever, and not because like Hashem said you should do it?
Of course. But there's definitely a difference between.
But there's also a mitzvah of going lifnim mishor sadin.
Yes, but that's more than lifnim mishor sadin. In other words, a person might turn around and say, listen, you have connections and I don't. Could you please go and ask somebody to borrow the money so that then I'll borrow from you? No, you're not mechuyev to do that much.
You're not mechuyev, but if you do, you still get a mitzvah?
Yes, definitely. You can't.
So we're talking here about the difference between mitzvah chiyuv and mitzvah kiyuv, not the difference between a mitzvah and not a mitzvah.
Correct.
Like, we're not talking about the difference between a mitzvah and a good deed. We're talking about...
No, we are. A mitzvah... No, you are not. You do not have to go and stretch yourself to such a point. That's not the point of the mitzvah.
But then, like, it's better...
It would be very nice if you did that. But, I mean...
But very nice for who? Like, a lot of things we do, we only do because we think they're nice because of the world we live in.
No,
it's nice not to kill, we think it's nice to give.
No, come on. That's going too far. In the case of chesed is not without a gvul. Chesed has a gvul. Chesed has a gvul. For example, a person says, the borrower turns around to the lender and says, listen, you live in such a big house, so give me your plates. Come on, give me your plates. I haven't got plates on my table. Are you mechuyev to give me plates? No, you're not, because you're using them. You could go out and buy plates and you're not mechuyev to do that. You're not mechuyev to do that. Person turns around and says, listen, anyway, it comes up very often. Someone says to you, like, can you take 5 people in your house for Shabbos? Right? Now, it's an expense, and it's a tircha. Are you mechuyev to bring in guests to your house and make your wife work to provide for all the guests and the expense of it all? Are you mechuyev to do that? No, you're not. Except if it's someone who's really in need, who doesn't have. But just guests, as guests, it would be very nice to have people at your table. Are you mechuyev to do that? No, you're not mechuyev to do that. For an oni who needs food, yes, you are. That's going further. That's being nice and kind. You're not mechuyev to do that. There's a difference between an oni and just having guests. It's going further. It's a nice thing to do, but are you mechuyev to do that? No, you're not. I know how far to push. Just 1 second. Let me just finish this off because the time's up. With that, the mitzvah sasei zur hava ena ela im ken yesh biyadai mois mezumani. You have money available. Aber im ein biyadai mois ena mechuyev leilech v'livos kedei la'aretz. You're not mechuyev to borrow, to lend. Af shehu batuach be'eino, even though you're sure you'll get the money back, o she'noisen loy mashkoin. In other words, you get a mashkoin, you have a guarantee that you will get the money back if you're going to lend it to somebody else. Im lo mitzad midas hachesed ba'alma. Here we are. It's a kindness ba'alma. You're not mechuyev to go that far. V'im yesh lo moz b'hava eitzon acher. Now, you lent money out. You lent $1,000 out to somebody. V'giaz man hapiron, and now the time of payment has come back. Yesh omrim, t'zeh mikre ki'ilu yesh lo moz muzumonim. That's called in halacha. In other words, you gave money for a month. At the end of the month, the borrower doesn't pay up. Now, what's that money called by you who lent the money out? That's called money which is available by you. V'al kein tzarich litol ma'osav mimenu u'lahalvos lozeh shemevakesh halvo. Therefore, in such a case, you have money available. You with it? So that's called I have the money available. At the moment, it's by somebody who'll give me back. So therefore you could borrow on that. Therefore maybe you would be mechuyev, because you know you're going to get the money back to give him. You with me? So that money is like money in your pocket. It should be coming in a day or two. And you know that person pays back. So then you could borrow on that. That would be yes to borrow on the security that you'll get your money back.
You mean lend, like if you know that you're going to get your money?
That's called, are you with me? Again, I'll say it again. You have $1,000, you lent it for a month. At the end of the month, the money doesn't come in. In the meantime, before the month is up, someone comes and says to you, a day or two before, whatever, could I? You say, I haven't got money to give you. Could you lend me money? I haven't got money to give you. Now, you know in a day or two you're going to have money available. Maybe then you would, yes, be mechuyev to borrow on the trust that you're going to get the $1,000 back.
Then you let them know that you might not, just in case the person doesn't pay you back.
Yes, maybe you should let them know. Correct. And certainly, if you have money which you left by somebody else, you should, yes, lend to somebody else. Just because the money is not there in your house, but the money is yes by you. You just have to go and get it out of the bank or something. Because if you have a pikodon and you left it by somebody, it's as if it's your money. So you can go and collect that money. But you're going to have to borrow until you get that money back. If you are a lazy person, you with me? In other words, if you have money in the bank, it's going to take you 2 days, 3 days to get the money out. So, and someone's asked you for a loan, then you should, says the Chofetz Chaim, go and borrow for the 3 days until you get your money out, and then you'll have the money to pay it to you. That's just being lazy. When the money is available and you can't turn around, like you said, I've forgotten your name. You, I'm sorry. Bracha Bela, I'm sorry, Bracha. So what you said before, when you have a $50 note, it's lazy that you didn't give it. I mean, you have the money available.
Or lack of time, but it's all relative.
So Chofetz Chaim says here that if really you have the money, but you don't lend the money, why? Because they're going to have to take me 2 days to borrow it, to take it out. So in the meantime, borrow on that, and then give him the $50, whatever you have in the meantime. So
I was talking about stock and not lending.
Yeah, you weren't talking about stock, but this is talking about lending. Why? How much more so? If the money is there sitting in your house. You don't want to give the money out because there'll be an argument in the house. So you should borrow from somebody else to give the person who asked for the loan. Because in truth, you yes have the money. And you have the mitzvah saseh. You have it. If you have it available, to tell me I don't have it available, that's something else. Now what happens if you put money in a bank account on interest, and you put it in for 3 months interest, and you're getting money on your bank, or in stocks and shares? Do you have to break the stocks and shares in order to get it out? In this case, I would say you should maybe borrow, because you have the money available. If you have, like say, $10,000 in the bank in stocks, and someone says, can I borrow from you $1,000, $2,000? And you do have $10,000 in stocks. So maybe, on that case, it's the same case, it's in Pikodon. So you should borrow in order to give him, because you have money available. It's just in stocks, it's locked up. Maybe in that case, that's what he means by Pikodon. When you yes have the money available in stocks, and it's just a matter of waiting until the stocks come out, or you get the money out, then you should borrow to give to lend to him. Okay, it's a little bit technical, but sometimes it's good to go to all these technical points, and it becomes much clearer for you when you see all the details. But ladies, we have to stop here. So